Often when making videos about Sega games and systems, I come at you from a place of great experience. I have been playing Sega's hardware and software for decades, and there is very little that I have not at least fired up once and given a bit of time to. Like many of you, however, there are always blind spots in the hobby that I have yet to venture into. For this episode, I have decided to cobble together some PC Engine games that I have heard about for years and finally give them a go. This is the very first time I have sat down and actually played any of these titles, and we'll be finding out together if they are the hidden gems that people often claim them to be. I hope you guys enjoy Hidden Gems, PC Engine games I've never played. I don't really know how to pronounce our first game. Cori Yoon is a horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up starring a baby dragon. It was released in 1991 by Naxatsoft, and I've seen it many times in articles and videos about Japanese shoot-'em-ups. Pressing the start button for the very first time revealed a number of things to me instantly. First, it's the type of shooter often referred to as a cute-'em-up. The ultra bright and colorful graphics has you shooting things like bees, spiders, and lizards, and you even collect the various power-ups from storks. The second thing you notice is that the game is damn hard. This difficulty is mainly derived from the fact that you don't know what you can and cannot touch when you begin the game. Enemies litter the screen with bonus fruit, and sometimes the things that resemble these items can damage you. When damaged, you lose your weapon power-up and revert to your previous state. The entire experience very much reminded me of Air Zonk and KO Flying Squadron, right down to the mix of the art design of these two games. If you inquired about whether I'd recommend you to play it, I'd say yes, this is not a bad shoot-'em-up at all. The graphics and sound are quite nice, and there is always loads on the screen to keep things exciting. Its $500 price tag complete sits squarely in the ludicrous column, however. For that kind of money, you could buy games like Hyperduel or Cotton Boomerang, two vastly superior games in the same genre. Cybercross was released by Face in 1989. This is a side-scrolling action beat-em-up similar to games like Kung Fu, but now with the added twist of power-ups that make you look like a Power Ranger. It takes cues from games like Rolling Thunder and allow you to play on upper and lower portions of the screen, and each power-up gives you a charge attack that can wipe out multiple enemies. The graphics are quite simple here, but still have that great color of the PC Engine, and the animation is really solid. It really could have used some parallax style effects to spruce things up, and it really needed more enemy variety. Luckily, the great battle tunes are quite catchy. The gameplay is really responsive and easy to pick up, but the hit detection for the main hero is crazy huge, and you can take damage even when your attack was well in advance of the enemy. And dying in this one sends your ass right back to the title screen to start over. That's right, no mercy for you. I wouldn't quite classify this one as a hidden gem. It doesn't blow you away visually, and the gameplay isn't strong enough to carry the entire experience otherwise. You can, however, get it for under $20 on eBay loose, which makes this one well worth a look, particularly if you like games of this type. I've seen Squeak recommended a bunch of times over the years. When I looked at a quick Google search, it showed a game that I didn't need to play, however. Released in 1991 by Victor Musical Industries, this is a puzzle game that is as simple as they come. At first glance, it amounts to little more than a little fuzzball painting tiles a different color. That's it. Even when you first play it, it's kinda like WTF, man, this is it? Keep playing it though. What is still a simple concept and its main objective begins to throw little curveballs your way with power-ups, tiles that break, new enemy types, shortcuts, and eventually maze-like level designs. Before you know it, you find yourself enthralled with this fine piece of software, unable to put it down. Best part is that it's still not crazy expensive and is well worth its asking price. It's that rare game where its simple sound and graphics really don't matter. The solid and unique gameplay is the star here, and I highly recommend it. Released by Media Ring in 1992, I've seen Toilet Kids for years. From magazines to forum posts to eBay to YouTube videos, I've always meant to sit down and play this one. And you know what? I didn't miss a damned thing by not playing this forgettable experience. The game starts with a kid going to the bathroom and being shot into the sky on a flying shit jacket. No joke, a flying commode that has a double blaster and air-to-ground bombs. And to stay in line with that theme, all the enemies are either attacking you with flatulence or feces and are usually drawn with massive asses or poo-related body parts. There are even dedicated toilets on the ground attacking you with shit bullets. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. The sad thing is that nothing here stands out. The decent soundtrack is its lone strength, but otherwise the average graphics and simple gameplay grow tiresome fast. This is not a hidden gem, and the $100+ it goes for on eBay is for the collectors with more money than sense. Sometimes you run across a game so Japanese it just has to appeal to you. Hanataka Daka is a horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up released in 1991 by Taito. This one was immediately appealing to me thanks to its low-key but great soundtrack, its gorgeous visual presentation, and its fun and easy to pick up gameplay. There are a ton of power-ups to add to your character, including different types of bombs, satellites, and even a Super Mario-style large and small system when you take damage. I wish there was more depth to the backgrounds, but with everything else so well detailed and animated, I can't really complain much. It's just one of those games that you can't help but enjoy from the moment you pick up the controller. It runs quite high on secondhand markets, often around the $100 mark. While that is pushing it, I do recommend you at least play this one and give it a fighting chance in your PC Engine collection. In 1990, Pac-In Video released Die Hard for the PC Engine. I've known or seen this game many times over the years, but as a general rule, I do not go looking to play licensed games of this era. Most of the time they were terrible, so starting this one up for the first time, I was filled with nothing but dread. This also must take place in an alternate timeline of Die Hard as well, because the limo driver Argyle is nowhere to be found, and Hans Gruber has the foresight to kill John McClane before he ever gets to Nakatomi Plaza. You must first traverse a forest and a river before you ever see the inside of the building from the movie. The gameplay is a top-down run-and-gun shoot-'em-up similar to stuff like Akari Warriors, though it very much reminded me of the Sega Master System classic Rambo First Blood Part 2. Also unlike the movie, Hans Gruber brought a lot, and I mean a lot more bad guys with him this time around, and you'll be killing hundreds of these bastards before the end. The main problem with this one is that everything is so uninspired. The graphics are decent, but there is no variety. The enemies are well animated, but they all look the same. The stages are also all laid out the same. I mean, if this game needed anything, it was a bit more ROM to liven things up a bit. Luckily, there is some solid variety in your weapons and the music is catchy most of the time. Complete copies go for $75 or more, and this just isn't worth that kind of money. In 1992, Taito released Tetsujin for the PC Engine. This is the Japanese version of Truxton, and I have been meaning for years to give this version a go. I've owned and loved it on my Sega Mega Drive for years, and I always was curious how it fared. Unsurprisingly, the PC Engine does a good job bringing the arcade classic home. The visuals and sound are quite comparable, and that hard-as-nails gameplay is in full effect here. You get the fantastic power-ups intact as well, and they look a bit better than they did on the Mega Drive. It lacks some of the cooler details like animations for enemy ship damage, but I was really happy overall with what I played. If you want to add it to your emulation or Everdrive collection, it's a no-brainer, but I cannot recommend a physical copy. Selling for upwards of $500 complete, just pick up the damn Japanese Mega Drive version for $60 and call it a day. Psycho Chaser is a 1990 vertically scrolling shoot-'em-up by Naxxatsoft. This was actually recommended to me not long ago, and I had never even heard of it. You are a giant robot outfitted with multiple weapons that can be switched on the fly for various situations. These weapons can be powered up in between each stage, and you can gain additional weapons like missiles during gameplay. That gameplay is rather good too. It's nice and responsive, and your weapon variety never ties down the gameplay with stuff you don't want to use. The lone weakness here are the lackluster graphics. The entire visual presentation of the backgrounds are as simple as they come, often little more than a series of tiles that are all the same color, or one-note patterns that lack any real detail. This is unfortunate as the main character is animated well, and there are lots of enemies on the screen otherwise. The soundtrack is decent at least, and the boss battles aren't too bad. The gameplay does carry with it enough to give a recommendation, and it's not super expensive yet, often going in the $30 or so range complete. In 1991, Face released a pinball game for the PC Engine called Time Cruise 2. It's a massive multi-screen effort that puts you in mind of a more tech-inspired version of Devil's Crush. It has an excellent soundtrack and the visuals are solid for the genre. The gameplay is kind of funky though, and the physics of the ball feels off and not nearly as fun as the Naxxat pinball efforts. And that ultimately is what a lot of you will do, compare it to Alien Crush and Devil's Crush. Both of them are superior games of pinball, with better visuals, animation, and music. That leaves the question, is this worth trying? I'd say yes, because despite being the inferior of the bunch, it's still not bad at all. If you like digital pinball games, at least fire it up on an emulator or something and see how you take to it. A complete Japanese copy goes a bit north of $50, but the US version, simply called Time Cruise, tends to go for more than 100 complete. In 1991, NEC Home Electronics released Genji, Tsuushin, Agedama, or however the heck you say that, an auto-scrolling platformer run-and-gun shoot-'em-up. This is another one I have known about for years and just never really sat down to play it. And that is quite unfortunate, because I freaking loved every second of this. Large, colorful sprites all over the screen, great detail in the backgrounds, tons of variety in your weaponry, catchy music that matches the flow of the gameplay. I mean, this is a great experience from the moment you say go. Your weapons are dictated by how long you hold the attack button. Tap it and you get a single shot. Hold it for a second and you get a stage 1 power. Hold it a bit more and you get a stage 2. So on and so forth across a myriad of different attack styles. And you'll need every single one of them because the auto-scrolling stages don't wait for you to get into position. You'll need to spray attacks constantly to stay alive, and keep your eyes open for life replenishing items to help you out. I enjoyed myself so much I went to eBay right away and picked myself up a copy. It goes for $30 to $40 loose, and the $50 to $60 range complete. That isn't something I do often for any game, but this was a pleasant a surprise as they come. With our 10 games for the PC Engine done, I reflect on what other games I could do for an episode like this. While I have played many games in my life, it's actually quite easy to compile a list for most consoles that I've never touched. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to take this journey on other systems, let me know down in the comments and I'll see what I can put together. There are Super Famicom, PC Engine CD, and countless other platforms just begging to be explored. Of the 10 I covered in this video, I can genuinely say that half of them were good enough and affordable enough to consider adding to my collection. And that's what makes retro gaming so damn great. No matter how much you think you know, no matter how much you have played, no matter how much you have seen, there are games out there still to be played. I'm Sega Lord X, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.